Hello, Falcon fans, and welcome to This Week in Falcons Athletics, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. Our final edition here in 2024. We'll come back in late January with more This Week in Falcons Athletics for 2025. On this edition, all hoops. We talk women's basketball coming up in segment number 2, but up first here in segment number 1, being joined by Casey Verhagen. He is a sophomore guard on the men's basketball team. My name is Matt Menzel. New to the Concordia men's basketball squad, you came from Northern Michigan. What made Concordia your choice of school for transferring?
Yes, sir. Growing up, I knew the Jurst family pretty well. It was just kind of strong ties here, just knowing Concordia. Kind of fell into place. I went to Northern Michigan, then had a little spurt with unforeseen circumstances going to Stevens Point. God just told me it was time to find somewhere closer to home, and I came here, and I'm blessed to be here and excited for what's to come.
Has it been a transitional period for you in these first few weeks of the season?
I think I'd give credit to Coach Cassidy, the coaches that made me feel very welcome, along with the players. We value relationships here, and I think it's extremely important. It made it very simple transition here to feel welcome and be part of the Falcon family.
Oh, for the entire team, there were a number of new faces up and down this roster. Has there been that transitional period for this team to just get used to one another, that chemistry, building that chemistry?
100%. I mean, you look at a team like WOC that's had, 5 guys been there for 5 years. It's not going to be easy. We got me and Logan coming from different schools. A bunch with, we returned 2 guys that scored, played some valuable minutes last year. So it's not going to be easy, but I think through the losses, we're, learning from our mistakes. And I think we're growing as a team, and we're finding out, what's valuable and what's to learn from in these losses here.
Let me ask you about the losses so far. It seems like every game the Falcons are right there within a possession or 2 or 3. In your opinion, what has been the difference these first few weeks? Yeah,
I mean, I think we could go possession by possession. We haven't valued possessions like we need to. The rebound battle has been tough for us. The last game we lost 39-22 in the rebound battle. And as a group, we know that's not acceptable. And that's something that we need to, work on in practice, and that's why we get an opportunity every single day to, come back and, regroup as a team. And I think that's just the main thing there is to work on that as a team. So,
you look at Saturday, a tough loss at Rockford by the final score of 86-84. In your opinion, what was the difference down the stretch in that one?
I think we didn't value possessions like I said earlier. I think it came down to a couple possessions at the end, and as you can see, the rebound value, we didn't get the offensive rebound at the end, and they score the offensive rebound and they lose. It's tough, but, it's something to learn from, and I think that going forward we can use that as fuel to, as Coach Kane would say, a comeback story and find that for us.
Looking for that comeback story, you had a big performance against Rockford, going off for 26 points. What worked for you on Saturday?
I think just getting to the rim, trusting myself, and my teammates have put me in great positions to finally get to the rim and be open. I think something that we need to look forward to is just keep shooting threes and keep valuing those. Spacing the floor is a big thing for us here, so I think that's a huge thing for us, and I think moving on to that 7, the starting lineup, I think that's a huge piece for us to just spread the floor and value the 3-point possession is. I've been able to get to the rim easier now.
Well, we've talked about, so for you, that transitional period, getting used to the whole Concordia system, and so far so good at 17.5 points per game while shooting well over 49% from the field. Do you like where your game is at right now?
I think, looking at 0-6, I'm never content with losing. So I think that's something for me is as a point guard and as a leader of this team, I'm not doing enough. I think we're not doing enough as a whole, and I think that's something to take away as we want a victory at the end of the day. So whatever that takes, I want to do for this team, and I'm looking forward to, Saturday as in the win column for us. So I'm excited for that, and I need to do better along with our team just to find that win and get this comeback story started.
Talk about Saturday in a second with that matchup at Edgewood, but real quick, I want to go back to your prep days. A state championship, Sheboygan Lutheran. You had well over 2,000 points, 865 assists. When you think back to your prep days, what memories stand out from your time at Sheboygan Lutheran?
Winning. That's a big thing for me. I value winning, and I want to win, and I'm a competitor, and that's something we haven't got right now. It's itching at me. It's something that, it's all itching at us, and as a group, we're fueled to, get better and improve, and I think Saturday is a test for us, but it's something that can start this, like I said, comeback story, and we're very excited what's in store for us.
Let's wrap it up by talking about the road ahead for the Falcons. As mentioned, we'll be at the Edge Dome on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and then 2 games next week in Daytona Beach, Florida, before wrapping up the 2024 portion of the schedule on New Year's Eve. A nice 1 o'clock matchup against Concordia Chicago. So wrapping up 2024 here inside the John Book Fieldhouse. You look at these next 4 games, what do you want to see? Obviously you want to win, but what do you want to see in these 4 games of preparation for that stretch run in 2025?
Competitiveness, toughness, and together. I think those are the 3 things that we need to find as a unit, find as a group. We have how many days of practice here to just get better, and I think that's huge for us. It's just getting better and learning from our losses, and every day is a new opportunity for us, and I think that's extremely important. And going into these next couple games here, we could be 3-6, 4-6, and the comeback story started. So I think that's something that's very valuable to us, and I think we need to use that every day as fuel.
So the comeback story starts now. Casey, thanks a lot for your time. All the best this Saturday at Edgewood.
Thank you.
That's been Casey Verhagen as we talk men's basketball. Up next, we talk women's basketball as we continue with This Week in Falcons Athletics presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.
I can't imagine being any other profession than an orthopedic surgeon. We have the privilege and we have the responsibility to make people better. We've been fortunate enough to take care of professional athletes. We've also been fortunate enough to take care of our neighbors and friends who trust us to give them back their life.
One of the main reasons I came here was because this is the way healthcare is meant to be delivered. Being devoted exclusively to orthopedic care means that we can focus on delivering specialized care for every patient. And that includes not only the surgeons and the physicians, but also anesthesia, controlling pain, the nurses, and the scrub techs, and everyone in recovery is dedicated to treating conditions that are very similar for people.
Our tagline is an uncommon focus on you. We think the focus on the patient experience is what sets us apart. Before we make any process or clinical decision at the hospital, we start with the same question. Is this what's best for the patient? If we can't answer yes, we move on to the next idea. Our nurses provide care for no more than 3 patients per shift, whereas other facilities, they might provide care for 7 or even 8 patients per shift. We think this personalized care is what sets us apart from others.
I think that dedication to our patients is our #1 focus. And you can technically do a good operation, but if you're not centered on the patient, they're not necessarily going to have a great outcome.
The Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin is physician-owned. It's physician-led. We have the responsibility to make the right decision for every patient. We also have the freedom to make the right decision for every patient.
Physicians and staff collaborate through regular meetings, weekly and monthly, and with a relatively small team, we're able to change the way we do things if we need to tweak something to make it perfect.
The facility specifically was designed so that quality could be measured and maintained and sustained. When you have 7,000 patients a year receive their surgery here, it's important that patient number 1 and patient number 7,000 receive the same care.
We place an extremely high priority on the patient experience here. We send surveys to each and every person that receives care at our hospital. Those survey results come back directly to me. I review them and share them with our senior leadership, as well as the staff and the physicians that provide the care to those patients.
There's almost 5,000 hospitals in the country that are measured. The Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin measures number 1, not number 2, not number 3, not runner-up, number 1 in patient satisfaction in the state of Wisconsin for the last 10 years running.
Welcome back to This Week in Falcons Athletics, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. We now feature women's basketball coming off a big win against IIT on Saturday. Andrea Butterbrodt from Green Bay Prep will kind of join us back for her sophomore year, a forward on the women's basketball squad. And before we talk about basketball, I know back in high school you graduated top 15 in your class, so obviously a great deal of success both on and off the floor. So it's exam week. How do you succeed, juggling both the academic side but also basketball this time of year?
I think definitely getting ahead early and looking at and reviewing all my notes and quizzes and anything I can do to prepare before the test as early as I can. Not procrastinating is definitely a big thing. I mean, happens to the best of us, but yeah, getting ahead early is the best thing I do.
Gotta believe it's nice too outside of practices. There's no game action now essentially for 10 days since you guys played on Saturday.
Can you repeat?
Is that nice?
Yeah,
Having
definitely.
that break?
Yeah, yeah, we have a nice break. Definitely helps because we have more time, then we can focus on ourselves, but then also get back to like what we need to do.
Well, from a basketball perspective now, okay, you go back to your freshman year, you played 21 games, 13 starts. What for you was the biggest adjustment or biggest difference from what you were used to with Preble?
I think the game being a lot faster my freshman year, coming into college, it's definitely different, but you know, coach definitely helps us, coaches us well, and we can easily pick up on what we need to do. Yeah.
Is there a different for you? Is there a different confidence about this season versus last?
Yeah, being a sophomore is definitely different from freshman year because it's your second year. You've learned everything once. It's now like habit, being able to know what coach wants and what she looks for.
From a scoring standpoint already, you have more than doubled your points per game average here in the early portions of this 2024-25 season. Are you happy with where your game is at right now?
Yeah, I think so. I know I can always look to score, and I also know that I'm a role player, so knowing I can also assist and look for my teammates to score also too is really helpful. Yeah.
Let's talk about that win against IIT on Saturday. A great win by the final 68-37. You came through with your second Falcon double-double going back to last season. What worked for the team? How were you guys able to get that W on Saturday?
I think sticking to our game plan, what coach really drives in practice was their defense is definitely different than most teams, so we had to switch up what we needed to do. Looking for what works for us, and once we score, keep doing the same thing because we know it'll work. Yeah.
And for you, we mentioned that double-double, 12 points, 13 rebounds. What was working for you in particular?
Always being aggressive, looking for the boards. One thing I think I've definitely gotten better at is getting the boards and then like pushing in transition. I know that we like to run a lot and run the offense, get quick scores. So definitely looking for what I know I can get and then running with it.
For the team as a whole, you look at this roster, a lot of familiar faces back from last year, but there's also some new faces, a lot more depth this season. How's the chemistry for the team developing?
I think having our full team back, not many injuries, it's definitely been hard at times at the beginning of the season, but I think we're getting better in practice and in games. We know how to flow with each other more. With our fifth game, it's still a bit early in the season, but I think working and flowing with everyone and off-campus things and off the court things has definitely helped our chemistry and everything.
Absolutely. And you look at the road ahead for the women's basketball team. Okay, now off until next Tuesday back here inside the John Book Fieldhouse for a conference matchup against Concordia Chicago at 5 p.m. Then it's off to Fort Lauderdale, Florida for a couple of games to wrap up the 2024 portion of the season. My final question for you is maybe what goals do you have for yourself, for the team, at least for the immediate future?
We're always looking to win, I think. The immediate future, looking to keep building our team chemistry, keep working, trying to get that conference championship, too, in the end.
All the best to you and the team. And, again, you can see the Falcons in person coming up next Tuesday against Concordia Chicago. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And when you look at the week ahead for Falcons Athletics, a light week with this being exam week. In fact, outside of men's basketball playing at Edgewood on Saturday, the men's hockey team will be at Gus Davis. Adolphus coming up on Friday and Saturday before they get a holiday break. Wrestling in action on Saturday at North Central Invite. And as mentioned, women's basketball will be in action a week from Tuesday, 5 o'clock tip-off against Concordia Chicago. So check that one out on December the 17th. That's it for our 2024 portion of this show. We'll be back in late January. Thanks for joining us for This Week in Falcons Athletics presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.